Welcome to Comfy Havoc number 2. I'm your host, Echo Fan Grey Wolf. I did a blooper reel for this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Never gonna try and pick that right back up and do it right this time. Is the mask muffling my voice? Anyway, so if you're looking at the comic book, Earth 928 Nueve is New York City, and Miguel O'Hara is an interesting man, a businessman, a tycoon. But before all that, before he donned this Day of the Dead costume with irreparable fabric, stretchable molecules, and all the other stuff that it's made out of, he was a chemist at Alchemex who was addicted to rapture. Trying to cure himself and having it sabotaged is how you get this. Claws and fangs. And yes, his fangs have the ability to mentally control you. Something that you don't get to see in the movie, except for when he tried to bite off the head of Vulture. But we're not going to go there. Anyway, they kind of flipped the script a little bit, having Miguel have a daughter versus having Miguel have a son. Now, by the end of the 90s run, Miguel got the hammer and Alchemex, and the Avengers praised because he was worthy. Now, in the new movie, with him chasing after Miles Morales, there's a lot of things that have been thrown out, and they're saying that Miguel is the bad guy. But they're also saying that Miguel is the Prowler. So there's a couple of things that I want to contest. One, he's not the Prowler. Two, he's not the bad guy. However, he may not view the world the way it's supposed to be viewed, as he says that Miles is the anomaly. However, let's talk a little truth here. I don't know anything about Miles in the comic, like talking about it, because I'm not a big Miles Morales fan. I'm going to be a little biased on that, because the original half-breed Spider-Man's right here. That would be Miguel O'Hara. Now, granted, Miles is also a half-breed. He is Latin and he is black, while Miguel is Mexican and Irish. Alright? We established that now? Good. But Miguel was first. Remember, Miguel was first. Always remember that Miguel was first. Or else, you'll get struck by lightning. Because he has Mjolnir. Anyway, moving on. The Miguel in the movies, which is a variant of the Miguel you see here. The Miguel in the movies is a little bit more abrasive. Does claws a lot. Because the Miguel in the movie, just like the Miguel you see here, has the ability to expand and retract his claws. That includes these claws and his teeth. Now, they haven't showed him use his mental powers of biting people and being able to control and direct their steps in the movie. However, that is something that he has done in the comic. Okay? In the 90s run. Miguel in the comic also was an exile. He teamed up with the X-Men. I cannot remember completely how it worked with X-Men 2099. However, he has teamed up with the X-Men as they were exiles. That was like some writer thing going on at Marvel at the time. But anyway, moving on from that. Now, the guy you see in the movies is from 928B, where the guy in the comic books is from the only 928 that exists. But there are variants because he has met himself. And I believe that's how he got the gray and red uniform. That if you're out there, my brother Courtney Monroe, I need that uniform. Anyway, moving on. Now, in the movies, there's this Spider Society and all that stuff. However, in the comic book, I don't recall Miguel doing any of that. But that's beyond my pay grade because I stopped reading comics 2010, 2011. That's a personal thing that I don't want to talk about because Marvel started messing up all of my team comics. Because I'm that guy. The only solo guy I really ever read besides Miguel O'Hara was Spider-Man. And then they said that clone thing started going a little bit crazy. Spider-Man had become 5 people. Ben Reilly was flipping sides, and eventually he became Spider-Man only to be unalived, and it just started getting bad. Now let's not talk about what they did with Major Victory. The only other guy to hold this shield before Falcon, of course, that was all retconned, making him the last guy to hold the shield now. Vance Astro, for those who don't know, who I initially started in my first costume as Vance Astro. It's on one of my profiles for one of my social media. This shield clearly doesn't like me. I guess I'm not worthy. Now, if you notice, in Into the Spider-Verse, or whichever one the newest one is, there are mad Peter Parker variants. There are mad Spider-Woman variants. You get a couple of Jessica Drews. The one on the motorcycle was a black Jessica Drew, who does not really exist in the comics, but hey, I'm not knocking it. I am part black, so let's have at it. And she's also pregnant, which was the white Jessica Drew storyline. And also, Jessica Drew, that Spider-Woman, is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, at least she was. Same with Spider-Woman #2 from the Secret Wars #2, Julia Carpenter, who was originally the first person to have the black outfit, and then Peter Parker copied it. Okay? Let's get it right. It's in the archive somewhere. Oh, my bad. That shit might have been retconned, which you see why I stopped reading. The mighty power of the word retcon has, ended my ability to read comics. So anything after 2010, I'm not reading. Unless it's a really good story and somebody convinces me that I need to spend $5.75 on that book. Alright? So if it's a story about Danielle Moonstar Warpath or anything Native American, I will go read that book. I will go buy that book. But if it doesn't have anything to do with that, I'm not doing that. Okay? Good. Got that established? Because just in case you guys forgot, Mexicans are also Native Americans, and Miguel, technically, could be considered a Native American. Of course, we're never going to have a whole lot of fun in the comments on this one, but anyhow, long live Miguel O'Hara, because I'm worthy. Now, back to the thing. So, there's a lot of thrills, there's a lot of theories, there's a lot of things going on saying that Miguel O'Hara is going to be the bad guy in the third film. Technically, he was the bad guy in the film that's currently still playing or just hitting video. But, here's my thing. Is he the bad guy? Or is he just a little lost and doing things he's not supposed to do? Also, the improvement of Lila for the movie versus Lila for the comics. Lila for the movie is sexy as fuck. Not that Lila for the comics wasn't sexy. Just sexier in the movie, depending on your decipher of sexiness. Okay? Of course, Lila in the movie looked like Marilyn Monroe. Lila in the comic looked like Marilyn Monroe for quite some time, and then they switched her up a little bit. But anyhow, have an annual where she doesn't look like Marilyn Monroe at all. She has her own look, which is awesome. But anyway, moving on. There's a lot of things going on in this movie that we seem to get a little bit twisted. So let's talk about the canon, or canon events. Let's talk about anomalies. First and foremost, Miles got bit by a spider. In the movie, he got bit by a spider from a different universe. In the comic, I'm a little lost in the comics. Like I said, I stopped reading in 2010. I don't think Miles came along until 2012 or some shit like that. Because there was a big controversy. The last comic that I considered picking up, and I did pick up, I don't recall if I bought it or not, was when North Star had become an X-Man. He's gay, and he's married to a black dude. That's about the time that I got to loving comics until they started tearing things up with the X-Men. They got rid of Asian Psylocke, and I really liked Asian Psylocke. They gave Betsy her body back and popped her out of existence right when she started dating Angel, and all kinds of stuff just kept going from bad to worse with the X-Men. Then they tried to kill all the X-Men off with X-Men vs. Inhumans, which leads you to Exiles. Okay, so you can go read some Exiles because this guy's in it. So I'm like, man, damn this. And then I just never bought another comic. But this isn't about me. It's about this guy, who's also me. But not today. Anyway, the bottom line is really quite simple that the variants do exist. And it's a funny thing that no one ever brought up Doppelganger because I'm pretty sure that's the only guy in Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery that this Spider didn't have to deal with, or at least not in the 90s. He did have to deal with Carnage, he did have to deal with Venom. I can't remember if he mutated into the six-armed spider or not. I have to go through my books. But this guy was the first mixed Spider-Man. As a mixed person, I'm very proud to don this uniform right now. Anyway, moving on. I'm not Mexican, but I am part native. I have been mistaken for a Mexican at least once or twice, even by Mexicans. That's a fact. Anyway, moving on. The thing with the Spider-Verse and the theories of how Miguel is going to be the bad guy, I'm not going to say they're too far-fetched. They're pretty close to correct. However, if you read the comics, Miguel was basically the John McClane of Spider-Man. Alright? You know, whatever it takes to get the job done, do the right thing only if it's necessary. Miguel, okay, let's stop kidding. Miguel was an ass. You know, it's probably why I liked him so much because he wasn't the Peter Parker. Alright? And in 1908, I can't remember if there was a Spider-Man. I think there was a Spider-Man because Miguel wanted to be just like him. But the hand of fate made things work out a little bit different for Miguel. Will you stop talking, Ben? No one is talking to you. Okay? No one. So just stop. That's what you need to do. You need to stop moving. You think I didn't see you blink? I saw that. Anyway, that really didn't happen. I just wanted to give some dramatic effect. If you guys thought this thing was alive, that would have been cool, right? Yeah. Anyway, so I also didn't like how they did Ben Reilly in the comic. I mean, not the comic, in the movie. They kind of made Ben really depressing. But Ben was not really ever a really depressed character. He was angry because he thought he was the real Spider-Man and the clone was living his life and he had to wash dishes for a living. But he had a very beautiful black-haired girlfriend until she found out who he was because she didn't like Spider-Man. It's a long story. You understand why I stopped reading comics, right? Then they killed off Ben. Who, Ben and this guy, are a tie for my two favorite Spider-Men. I do love Ben, but I'm closer related to this guy ethnically wise. You know, like, because of my heritage, where Ben's just a clone. But he was an awesome clone. And I heard recently that they had brought him back. I don't read comics because I also remember when they brought Madeline Pryor back for the Cable comic, and I didn't get to get all of those comics. So I'm fishing for old comics. If I have to buy anything, I'm only buying shit from 2010 backwards, and that's how I'm gonna finish my collection. My collection is not gonna have anything past 2010 unless it's like an offset or a misnomer. Now, a lot of you are gonna think the same thing that the rest of the world is thinking, that Miguel is going to be the main villain, and there's gonna be a big reveal. I sure as hell hope not. I hope that, if anything, Miguel, if he is the bad guy, that there's going to be another Miguel to come and solve the entire problem. And then you're going to have to explain, how did this Miguel fool Lila? Let me explain. Okay, so Miguel's future Asian wife, who was his best friend since childhood, who would later become his girlfriend until he cheated with his brother's girlfriend, who would become his wife at one timeline or another, who would die with the son, made Lila for Miguel as his companion because they were friends and not lovers, and Miguel was always lonely, and Lila was his companion, and then he happened to become Spider-Man. Now Lila is not only his companion, she watches his back, and everything else that the spider sense does not have, because he does not have a spider sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And no one has actually explained how she does it, or how I guess she's connected to the web. I don't really know how to explain it, because I'm not a comic book guy where it comes to explaining comic book law, comic book lore, that kind of thing. I used to be. Uh-oh. But everything is retconned. Sorry. The screen went black. I don't know how to keep it from going black. So you may see me flip out like that again, because the last time that happened, I wasn't recording at all. So yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, moving on. Somehow or another, his battle cognition generally does not fail him, but he does not have a spider sense, which makes it easier for people to sneak up behind him. That's why Lila is supposed to function. In the comic books, it was very hard for people to sneak up on Miguel because of his heightened eyesight and his battle cognition. Where in the movie, you saw Vulture rip his ass a new one. Anyway, I want to end this on the possibility that Miguel might not actually be the bad guy, and that there may be a three-way team up with, with Proper Miles, Miguel, and regular Miguel, and regular Miles teaming up to fight Spy. Let's pray for that ending, because I'm going to be really pissed off if you guys turn this guy into the bad guy, unless there's a twist, and that twist being that another Miguel O'Hara has come through the timeline to grab him. Maybe Miguel O'Hara from Earth 2010, who's married to the Chinese girl, to fix all of this stuff. But keep the Spider Society in check. Thank you for watching. I am Echo Fan Grey Wolf. This is Comfy Havoc number 2. I gotta get out of this suit. Be seeing you. Hey, in the comments, if you guys want me to do a kung fu show in this outfit at a nighttime, let me know. I'll do it. But I need at least 5 people to say yes. And also, it has to be on a Saturday night when there's no rain. Okay? So first night that it doesn't have rain, if I get enough people, 5 at least 5, and I will do a kung fu show in this suit for YouTube. And if you're from TikTok or Instagram and you want me to do it live, we can do that too. Just let me know. Thank you for watching. I am Echo Fan Grey Wolf. This is Comfy Havoc number 2. Okay, the cursor's in the right spot. Be seeing ya.